are recording Restart After Divorce episode 8. We can still use our fingers and toes for the episodes.
So far.
Yeah, so far.
Getting
Almost
closer.
not there.
Then we have to start working as a team. Then we can get to episode 20. So, what was today?
I am an empty nester.
But I'm not.
You're not. You're in denial.
I'm not in denial. I was like, there's one gone. That's all. Well, one is still there. He graduated from high school on Monday. Fabulous occasion that was. DAR Constitution Hall. 560 in the class. 5,000 people there.
Wow.
To witness the graduation, including a former president. We had Bill Clinton there and Hillary, because one of my son's old school friends who's still at his high school, but they're not close anymore. His uncle and aunt are Bill and Hillary Clinton. Through his father was Hillary Clinton's brother.
Oh.
He's a Rodham.
Oh, wow.
So Bill and Hillary turned up. Yeah. We saw them off in the distance. They did not end up in a box next to us, sadly, because I would have leaned over and shook their hands. Sorry, I didn't want to bring politics into it. But yeah, it was a great occasion. It was a wonderful experience. We did not cry. We did not get overly emotional. But I will say, for two parents who really have managed to be quite cynical about things in life, I think it's a European standpoint, we were abundantly proud. We were very, very proud of our boy going up there and getting his diploma and finishing it. He got a 4.55 GPA, so very happy about that. And I kept thinking I just wanted to lean over to my ex and give her a hug and go, we didn't bring up a delinquent. So happy about that. And just setting the bar low enough that he stayed out of trouble for the first 18 years of his life. And now we just have to hope he can go through the next 4 years in one piece. And then after that, the world is his oyster.
How did you feel? Proud?
Proud. It was an unusual experience. I've been to little graduations before with the kids as they've gone through elementary school and middle school and stuff like that. But this was my first proper graduation. I never graduated in the formal sense at my university because I just never turned up for the graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
I wasn't in town, so I didn't bother. And so this was the first time I'd ever seen this level of pomp and circumstance for a degree or a high school education. Keeping in mind, in England, we don't do this. This is a very American thing.
Yeah.
At least as far as I know, it's an American thing. But in England, you hit 18 years old, you've got your A-levels, off you go.
Yep.
Good luck. We don't want to see you again. I thought it was really interesting that eventually they put on buses to take the kids back to school if they needed it. Our guys didn't need it. A lot of kids just went home with their parents because they'd driven in or they got Ubers. But I thought initially the intention was the school buses take them all there so they arrive on time.
Okay.
And then they go into the hall, they get their graduation, and then they're left to find their own way home, which I thought was such a symbolic moment in their lives. The school takes care of them all the way up until graduation and then says, great, you're not my problem anymore, and just says, go home by yourself. But they did lay on buses. It was amazing. It was like it's like watching a sports team turn up. As we stood outside on the steps of the hall, the buses turned up and the kids all piled out in their blue outfits with the red trim and their hats and everything. And it was really quite striking. I was very taken. I try my best never to be overwhelmed by the occasion of anything, but this one did feel, it makes it feel your education is special. It makes it feel as if you've really achieved something. But I'm still not an empty nester.
In denial. I feel you're in denial.
No, I'm not.
I feel like I've got 2 left.
That means the nest isn't empty. The nest is still very much full.
Well, he'll be close. He's 45 minutes away.
Yeah, he's a 45-minute drive away. He's next to an IKEA. You can work it out.
That's exciting.
being next to an IKEA. It always is. It means that if I can drag the twins out to visit their big brother, not by virtue of saying go visit him at university, but by go visit him and we can go and get meatballs at IKEA. So that will make them happy. And also we can go buy bookcases. Every house needs a Billy bookcase at some point in their life. It's just a rites of passage. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, but given the fact that for the last year and a half, he's been driving by himself, he's had his own car.
Right.
And he comes and goes pretty much as he pleases. The break that comes from a child going to university, at least in the context of our family, it doesn't feel as profound because, and especially being divorced, it's not like we see each other all the time, every day anyway. Even if I was living there, there was a point during lockdown where when we first started in March, April 2020, where he was doing his homework at that point, let's say 6 years ago. So he was about 12 years old.
Okay.
About the same age as the twins now. And he would do all of his work on a desk in the family room. So we were all close by. Kitchen one end of a big family room, dining room, living area, and then right at the end, his little desk. And then one day he said, I want to go upstairs and do my work there. And we never saw him for the next 3 years. He just disappeared. That's where he went. His new life was upstairs in his bedroom.
Okay.
And so we got used to him not really being around.
All right.
Your boy's 16?
Yeah.
So you know of him as just a kind of spectral presence that passes by in front of your field of vision once in a while as he goes to the fridge and goes back upstairs and then leaves and comes back and goes upstairs. And teenage boys in particular seem to be very independently minded.
I think I don't think it's gender. I think the girls do.
I don't have a frame of reference.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably a good thing. Being a father of girls, I would have been incredibly paranoid.
Right.
That would have been too much for my little psyche to take. I would have been very protective. They can date when they're 30. They can leave home when they're 45, that type of thing. It would have been very difficult for me. Boys, I feel I can handle. I can handle it very well. Plus, being the father of boys means that their toy collection was spectacular from a very early age, because I would buy them things that were completely age inappropriate. Like you're 6 months old and you've got a radio-controlled racing car. Daddy will use it until such time as you're ready to take it on yourself.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's like, that seems very advanced for a 2-year-old. I know, but, I want to make sure it's going to be good for him when he finally is old enough to take it on. So, yeah, we'll have the racing rig. We'll have the flight simulator. We'll have this. We'll have that. It's like, what can I say? Fathers of boys get to relive their own childhood in a way that I don't think fathers of girls do. I think it's a different dynamic. It's
very different, yeah.
Very protective. The frames of reference, the understandings are fundamentally different. You just don't understand what it's like to be a girl. Whereas boys, the dads kind of they can roll with it. There's an expectation the boys will like the same things that dad does, that he'll do the same things that dad does.
Well, hopefully.
They'll help with the things that dad does.
They sometimes have very different interests.
Well, that's what I've found. I mean, I will admit that these days I'm very much aware of the fact that the boys do not really have many of the same interests that I do. As a dyed-in-the-wool football fan of West Ham United, I would hope that my boys would follow in the family footsteps and they would be West Ham fans. Nope, cannot do it. They just show no engagement in suffering the same level of pain that I do. They ask me on a regular basis, are you sure you want to be a West Ham fan?
Oh, wow, they do.
Yes, why don't you just change to another team? You don't change teams. I mean, it sounds terribly cynical. I actually did say to somebody earlier on today, I said, once you're born into a team, you don't change teams. It's not like marriage. I mean, it's permanent. It's kind of like...
It's more permanent marriage.
Yeah, sadly.
It's like
Sadly.
imprinted to your...
It is imprinted on you in a way that if you were children, if we got married at 5 years old, we'd probably stay with the same spouse. But if you're going to football games at 5 or 6 or 7 years old, you are then a dyed-in-the-wool football fan for that team, and it takes a lot for you to stop being that fan. I know people who drifted away from football. I don't think I've ever met anybody who has said, I used to be a fan of this and now I'm a fan of that.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Because that is just unacceptable. That's not going to
It's
go.
part of your blood,
Yeah.
I guess.
So anyway, empty nesting. We drifted off again. Empty nesting, technically we empty nest on a fairly regular basis because some weeks the kids are there,
True.
some weeks they're not there.
Yeah.
So maybe by the time they head off to university or they start careers and it takes them away, being an empty nester isn't as big a wrench emotionally or psychologically as it would be if we were a nuclear family under one roof. At least from the day-to-day logistics of it, I think internally,
a little bit
your head
less.
is still grappling with the reality that they're not there.
Yeah, I think I would be a little sad for a few months that, if my son, I think, he's 16, so obviously 2 more years, but I think I will be sad.
They're going to fly by.
Yeah,
I
know,
think
yeah.
the one thing I've been thinking about as we've got closer and closer to the point of his graduation, and now we'll start progressing to him. Next weekend, he flies to California.
Right.
He's doing his own solo trip. And my other two, they're off to Europe for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be an empty nester for 6 weeks effectively, which isn't an unusual thing. I've done that for the last for the last 16 years on and off. We've been doing that. But I think back, what was it like for my parents when I left? I have no recollection of what that was. Now, true story, my parents left home when I was 18. So, ponder that for a minute. By the time I was 18, my mother had decided to go with my father and live in the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
Leaving my brother and myself at home in London. My grandparents were close by. They were maybe a 5-10 minute walk away.
Okay.
But effectively, we were left in the house by ourselves.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. And I think that lasted for 6 months, where we were just, the empty nesting in reverse. They left and just left us to it. And I'm still here. So obviously things didn't go too badly. But yeah, it's really interesting to think. So there was that period. My father worked in the Middle East for close on 25 years. And so he was constantly in and out of the country. My mother eventually went and lived with him.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
And so there were long periods where I didn't see my parents at all. It could be a year, 2 years, 3 years before I saw my parents again. And it was only in the later years of their life that I was able to start going back on a yearly basis because they were there.
Oh,
and,
wow.
But now I think back on it, when I went to university, they weren't there. They'd already left. So they were gone. So they never experienced the whole, what was it like to lose a son to living outside, because they'd already done it for me. They made life easy for me. So leaving was a fairly straightforward thing. I had more problems saying goodbye to my grandmother. My grandmother was alone with my brother. My parents were in the Middle East, and my grandfather had died a couple of years earlier. So I felt really guilty about leaving my grandmother. But it's interesting how we assume the kids heading off to new adventures at university are just going to take it in their stride.
Right.
But do they get homesick? Do they get nervous? Do they find themselves afraid about what's going on? I don't know. Every kid's different, obviously.
Yeah,
I know some kids. I've known some kids at university who got really homesick.
Right.
And then they come back, and then you're not an empty nester anymore.
And some never come back. Some just.
Which is, it's strange to think that you're I take my parents, for example. I was 2007. I was 42 when my father died.
Okay.
43, something like that. So I had 43 years of my life with him, on and off, because of his travel and, of
Right.
course, being a baby, and then me moving here. And you realize that after the age of 16, 17, your time with your parents becomes increasingly minimal. I think I saw somewhere a stat that like 80, 90% of your entire existence with your parents will be lived in the first 18 years of your life. And then from the rest of that period onwards, you just touch points in each other's lives. I find that not upsetting, but sobering. I find that a very sobering thought, that someone who has been such an integral part of your life, sorry, I didn't bring the mints again, someone who's been such an integral part of your life suddenly overnight becomes such an incidental part of your life. Don't cry.
Well, that's the way, it's supposed to work, right? It's kind of bittersweet. You raise them to be independent, but yet you're sad that they're not dependent on you.
Yeah, I mean, technically, the end result, if desirable end result from this, is that you miss them.
Right.
It's that simple. If you don't miss them, there's something wrong with the relationship, or they just never left, which is also something that's wrong, because then you didn't end up with independent kids. And it's really unfortunate because of the economic situation, how many kids continue to live at home.
Right.
But, it's challenging. It's challenging.
I think it's not unusual for the people that are in their 20s, the Gen Zs, to live at home, because it's just very expensive. And
I mean, I look at my one, and yes, he's 6 foot tall. He's bigger than me now. He's heavier than me. He's grown up. But I look at him going, he's still a kid. He's not there yet. He's still got a lot of learning to do. He's still got a lot of experience to gather. And
I'm still learning. And growing.
I have this belief that what will happen is that everything will make sense about 3 minutes before I die. And I'm going to be laying on that bed going, it makes sense now.
Well, as long as it makes sense, sometime along the way, you're good.
Do you feel now that you learn quicker or better at this age than you did when you were a young, flighty 20-something?
Definitely. I feel that I understand things a little bit, much, much better than when I was young. Just so much growing up to do.
But do you feel that's because of experience? Just you've lived the life now?
Yeah.
And as a result, you understand things differently.
Yes,
definitely. Therefore, so here's the thing I've done. I have favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'll do is I'll go back and watch movies every few years, because watching a movie that you haven't watched in 10 years will have an amazing impact on you, because you watch a different movie every time. Not because the movie itself changed, but you changed.
Oh, you change. Okay.
There was stuff that I would watch when I was in my 20s that I would enjoy. And I'm not talking, like bubblegum movies or anything like that. Though some 1980s movies have not stood up well to the test of time. But you watch movies, and the fact that when you watch them when you were a young, single 20-something, and now you go back 30, 40 years later, and you're watching them as a 50, 60-something father, oh my God, that movie hits in ways you could never have imagined it would. It's like your entire frame of reference has changed your perception of everything. And it's only by going back and watching something or doing something you did before the children that you suddenly have a new appreciation for how much you've changed.
Yep. New perspective. It's always interesting.
Yeah. I just, every so often I'll pick a movie up and I'll watch and go, oh, stuff that I just, oh yeah, that's interesting. And now it's like, but none of the Disney movies. I mean, I remember when my eldest was like 3-4 years old, WALL-E came out. And watching WALL-E the first time was a magical experience. It's like watching a modern interpretation of a silent movie. So much could be learned from watching WALL-E about how silent films were made in the teens and 20s. But watching it for the 50th or 60th time, oh God, you just want it over and done with. And it's like, but kids at that age want to watch the same movie over and over and over and over again.
The same book.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. It's part of parenting. That's how they learn the vocabulary, the words, the reading. That's how, repetition helps them learn.
Yeah.
Or helps us learn too.
But I miss it now. I miss it. I love the bear books. The bear gets scared. The bear gets lost. The bear does this. The bear. Oh, those books were my favorites. I would read them every night. If I could, I'd read them to them now. But they just don't have the tolerance level for me reading books to them anymore. So it's, when you're an empty nester, I suppose what will happen is that you then look back on those things with so much longing and you wish you could have them. But that's when you get grandchildren.
That quickly?
No.
It's only 18, though.
No. Oh, God, no. No. No, I should point out to him that he is now the same age as my mother was when I was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Mum was 18 years old. She didn't turn 19 until I was in my 4th month. So 3-4 months old, and she became a 19-year-old. And by the time she was 20, she had 2 kids.
Wow.
So I should tell him now. I said, you know what? You're the same age as your grandmother. Imagine being the father of a child at this age. That would create a lot of abstinence. I've often said to friends, if you really are wondering about kids, come and spend a day at my house. It's like a PSA for birth control. You will realize you're not ready for parenting.
Well, I don't think anybody's ready for parenting.
Some people.
It was like a shock to me, like how much work it was involved.
Yeah.
I think it must be a shock for most.
I think so. I mean, unless you're one of those lucky families where there was a big age gap between you as the eldest child and your youngest sibling. And I had a boss who had 9 children. And I think by the time the eldest was 20, the youngest was being born.
Right.
And
in that case,
children are second nature. But of course, it's your child as opposed to a sibling. It's a very different ballgame. But you do get to practice in a lower environment if you've got little sisters and brothers. So, but no, I don't know, being an empty nester, still a few years away from that. And by the time it happens for me, I'll be retired. And life will be very different anyway. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. It helps me to prepare for it. Now you talk about it. It's like, oh, maybe it'll be easy. It'll be a breeze for me, hopefully.
I don't know what to expect. I mean, I really don't know. I remember talking to my ex about this. So what's going to happen when the kids have all left home? And she said, we'll deal with that when we get to it. We really don't have an option but to just keep plowing along.
Right.
And being parents. And then, as I always say, and it's such a cliche, but parenting just changes. What you were, when they were babies, it was like dealing with high functioning pets. You feed them, you water them, you play with them, and they think they're cute. And then they start walking, and that becomes a challenge. And then you hit 3, which I always thought was worse than terrible 2s. Terrible 2s were nothing compared to the absolutely awful 3s, because being mobile is one thing, but being mobile and having an opinion, that's hard work. Because when the kids learn the power of no, that's when the real challenges of parenting begin. But every year it's a new set of challenges. Now with my eldest going off to school now, university, that's just going to be a new set of challenges again. They'll just be from a distance.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. Our episode 8. So like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. See you next time.
Take care.